Alright guys, what is up? We are back again bringing you guys another video. We are breaking down UFC Fortazela, aka, was it Fight Night 144?
144.
AKA ESPN Plus 2. And we're going to jump around a little bit in this fight card. We're actually going to start off, since this is a relatively thin card in terms of the depth of the fighters. So we're actually going to jump all the way and start with the Alves versus Griffin.
Yep.
Fight.
This is mostly going to be a striking affair, I would think.
Yep.
Max Griffin's a kickboxer. Thiago grapples a little bit, but he's more of a stand and trade kind of guy. As far as stats, they both land close to the same amount of strikes. They both absorb the same amount of strikes. Thiago absorbs strikes at a lower percentage, though. So his striking defense appears to be a little better. His takedowns are better. His takedown defense is better. So just for that fact, I don't think Max Griffin is quite good enough to beat Thiago. He does have a 6-inch reach advantage, though, but I'm going to roll with Alves to get back in the win column with a decision.
And also with Thiago's stats, you realize that he's fought higher tier opponents as well. So to have better stats with a harder track record as well goes to show that he might have.
And that's also across 24 fights compared to 5 for Griffin.
Right.
So
big experience factor.
Yeah.
And so just to tag along with what Austin said, I also think Thiago's going to win this fight. I think the later it goes in those third rounds, though, the more likely it is that Griffin could edge out a decision or get a finish, because Thiago's usually a bigger guy in those fights at welterweight. When you look at him, he's a really muscular guy at 170. So there's a fear that if it becomes a slugfest, that he might tire before Griffin in that fight. But I still think Thiago has enough to at least win 2 rounds if he just needs to eke out the third round to win a decision. I think either way, Thiago's going to pull it out. So
I think Thiago is going to pull it out as well. I think that Griffin's going to start getting teed up a little bit in the second round, and because he's newer, he might get the jitters a little bit, and he might start looking for a finish if he's losing the second round. He already lost the first round. I'm actually going to go second round knockout. I think Thiago's going to finish him in the second round for sure. It's just an experience factor. There's an experience factor when you have a guy that has 10 fights versus 15, but 5 versus 20 plus. That's a big gap.
that's just UFC fights. That's not even career.
Yeah, that's a big gap.
Take Thiago with decision. I think it just comes down to the main thing too. It's the whole, he's had more fights in UFC, higher competition fights. He's stuck in there with higher competition fights. Not taking anything from Griff, but thing is, like, he may be as good as, Thiago, whatever, but it's just he hasn't had that many fights, and I just feel like it's going to go to decision. I don't see a finish here, so I'm going to take Thiago with the decision.
Yeah, and this is a fight where, we all took Thiago, obviously, but I think it's going to be a good fight. I think it's going to be a close fight. I think it'll be a good scrap back and forth. I don't think it'll be a one-sided, completely dominant performance, but I do think the experience factor that Thiago has will allow him to edge out that little bit each round that he needs to do.
He did be smart on what he needs to do and where to play, and he kind of gets the jits of how he's going to run it.
Yeah. I think leg kicks are going to play a big factor.
Yeah.
We've all talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
After 55, there's really nobody that throws heavy leg kicks, but Thiago is one of them. He just doesn't fight roll often, so it's not really in the front of your mind, but I think those will play a factor against the longer Max Griffin.
Yep.
We're going to skip the women's fight on the main card because I don't know
either one of the
We would just be taking shots in the dark at that point.
They both have decent records, but I don't know enough about either one of them to make an educated guess on how I think the fight's going to go.
Right. So we'll go to Charles Oliveira versus David Teymur. Grappler versus striker matchup.
Yep.
Oliveira's got 17 career wins by submission. Teymur's got 4 knockouts of his 8 wins. So, with that being said, Oliveira has looked very impressive lately.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. He lost to Paul Felder. Was that in Detroit?
No. Did he fight in Detroit and Chicago?
Yeah, because he beat
Guida
in
Chicago.
Clay in Chicago.
I don't remember him fighting in Detroit.
I thought he fought Paul Felder.
He fought Paul Felder at some point and lost, but I don't know if
I think it was Detroit. We watched it because Paul Felder beat the fuck out of him.
Yeah, at 55.
Anyways, since that, he's on a 3-fight winning streak. He's won all 3 by submission. I believe they were all also first round, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
Clay was for sure.
Yeah, Clay was. And his last one was too, against Jim Miller.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, Teymur, obviously, he's a kickboxer. He lands at a higher rate. Height-wise, they're similar. There's only a 1-inch reach advantage for Oliveira.
Yeah.
There's nothing really that... Teymur's got a high takedown defense, and Oliveira's takedown success isn't that great. It's under 50%.
It's definitely opportunistic when he goes for a takedown. It's usually because he clipped a guy.
Yeah.
He's going to go for a submission, not really shoot for a double leg.
He doesn't look for it as much like on a normal basis rather than when he thinks he has a guy.
Right. The big thing that it came down to for me is Teymur's never been finished in his career. He has 1 career loss, and it was by decision. So I'm going to take him.
And it's early in his fight career.
Yeah. He's only 29. He only has 9 professional fights.
What is his takedown defense?
82%.
82.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Oliveira's got a 43% success rate. So,
Yeah.
Just the fact that Teymur's never been finished, I'm going to take him, but Oliveira's looked really impressive lately, and very well everything could be finally clicking for him. But just based off of the fact that Teymur doesn't appear to ever get finished, I'm going to take him.
See, it's hard for me to go against the hot hand. And anytime I get into a matchup where I get primarily a striker versus somebody who likes to take it to the ground, I always pick the striker because they're the more exciting fighter to me, and it always bites me in the ass. So for that reason alone, I'm going to ride the hot hand. I'm going to ride... If I had to guess how, I think it's going to be a 3rd round finish. I think he's going to get finished for the first time. Submission finish. I don't think he's going to...
The other thing that kind of, just to not to cut anybody off, Teymur's a counter striker too, so that he's not... It's going to be hard for Oliveira to get underneath him to take him down.
Yeah, I think at some point, though, he's going to get one. I don't think Oliveira's going to get finished, and I think at some point there's going to be that opportunity, and that he'll seize that opportunity.
4 times. Regardless.
I'm taking David. I'm going to say a 3rd round knockout. Reason being, I feel like it's going to go back and forth. Oliveira, like we said, like he's not going to look for the takedown, but if it's there, he might try and take it. I feel like it's going to be one of the fights where you're going to have back and forth kind of stuff here and there. Not too exciting stand-up, but, a little bit of something here and there. It's going to end up being like a clinch up against a cage, back and forth. And I could see Oliveira maybe getting a trip or something like that down and kind of looking bad for David, because that's not where he wants to be with Oliveira at all. But I can see Dave get back up and just go back and forth and just somewhere where either in the 3rd round, either catching him clean or catching him out of a clinch grapple and putting Oliveira down and finishing it with TKO.
I don't know how to feel about your calling him David.
Instead of Teymur. But
it kind of throws me off.
I'm going to take Teymur to win this fight as well. He's looked relatively strong and durable in his last couple of fights. I remember when he fought in Detroit, I believe, he looked... Was it Detroit or Chicago that we watched him? I think it was Detroit.
I think it was his brother that we watched. Daniel Teymur.
Daniel Teymur?
I think that's who it was. I could be wrong on it.
Regardless, in his fights, he's looked really tough. I don't think he will be finished in this one. I also don't think he's going to finish Oliveira, since Oliveira's kind of been riding a hype train here for a little bit. So I'm going to take Teymur with the decision win.
Next up, we got the hot young prospect, Johnny Walker, coming off a 1st round finish of Khalil Roundtree. Yeah, shocked me. I didn't think he was going to win that fight against Justin Ledet, who I don't think many of us are very familiar with. I'm taking Johnny Walker. He really impressed me going in there knocking out Khalil in the 1st round.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of Khalil, so that
on a
really
especially on a short
mind,
notice fill-in too. So I'm going to roll with Walker. I got first round knockout. Neither one of these guys has a ton of fights in the UFC, so any stats that they have up for them are kind of
biased. Yeah.
There's not enough there to really judge anything off of. So I'm just going to roll with the young prospect and take him with a first round knockout win.
I'm right there too. That Roundtree fight, it was impressive. I mean, that's a tough SOB in Khalil Roundtree, who was impressive with his previous fights, and he got outclassed. It wasn't close. So I'm gonna have to ride the hot hand on that one too and take Johnny Walker. And he's got a dope name.
I'm gonna take Justin just because when you got a guy like Johnny who absorbs 30 punches.
Props to your UFC website for
just in case. I need to see if I need to make sure that I can. Yeah. 29.23
in one fight.
Strikes per minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yikes.
In less than one round. So how Khalil didn't knock him out?
That's a lot of strikes to absorb.
From a big, strong,
from a huge guy.
No, I'm gonna take Walker. I think it's the same thing. It was very impressive his last fight. He, it's kind of hard like Costa. It's hard to go against hot hand like that with a fast finish like that. I'm thinking he wants to go in there and get another one done and kind of like move his way up and slowly make his way up, and show that he's here and he's ready for some competition to go forward. So I'm gonna take him with a. If I had to pick, I'm gonna say second round knockout.
Yeah. When I look at Ledet's stats and his previous fights, I don't see enough in there to be able. Granted, I didn't think Johnny Walker was going to be able to beat Khalil by any means. I thought Khalil was going to destroy him, and I don't see enough of a background from Ledet to be able to finish Walker in a similar fashion that he finished Khalil. So I'm also with Johnny on this one.
All right.
And on to another striker
grappler. Yeah. We got
next level
Damien,
grappler.
yes.
We got the human backpack, Damian Maia, versus Lyman Good, who last time we broke down one of his fights, you called quick knockout against Ben Saunders.
Well, it's Ben Saunders, so
fair enough.
I had a little bit of an insight on what potentially could happen in that one. But yeah, he put a beating on old Ben Saunders there.
Does Good's takedown rate reflect his name at all?
85%.
It's not bad.
That's pretty good.
And Damian Maia only has a 25% success rate, so.
Yeah.
The problem is 25% he gets you down. It's 9% just
that 1 out of 4 times.
That 25% leads to you being backpacked is the problem.
Yeah. Damian Maia's on 2 fights good? 3 fights good? 3.
I think it's 3.
3.
Yeah.
T. Wood, Colby, Usman.
Yeah.
He's on a skid.
Because Usman was supposed to be entertainment between the both of them, with Usman looking to be the wrestler and Damian being
the last one he won before all that was Condit, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, poor Condit.
Dead.
Team Turtle captain.
Team Turtle. Rip.
Damian Maia's getting a little long on the tooth at 41.
Yep.
He doesn't take a ton of damage, though, because he just rides people like fuck backpack.
Truth.
Lyman Good's a striker, eats a lot of shots, but Damian Maia isn't a dangerous striker. So
it really comes down to, do you think Good is going to catch Damian Maia and put him out, most likely, or is Maia going to get a hold of him? Like, is he going to get him on the ground or get on his back? It's really like Maia.
Good keeps his range well, though.
Yeah, if Good can stay, the big thing is stay off the cage, and Maia's probably not getting him to the ground.
He keeps his range pretty well, so even if Maia would take him down, I don't see it happening quick. He's not going to come in reckless and have it happen early in the round, so he'll have to work for it. And at that point, it's going to be late in the round, and Maia's not a great finisher, so I'm going with Good.
Yeah,
I think Good's going to get him in the second round, TKO.
I've got Good by decision. I think he's just gonna
outwork him.
Yeah, Maia doesn't really get knocked out. So I think Goods is just gonna kind of pick him apart. He's gonna, I think, look to counter strike a little bit to keep Maia off his legs, and I see Maia eating a lot of jabs.
I'm gonna take Damian Maia for one reason only.
He's a backpack?
Not just a backpack, but we had Cowboy, the old man Cerrone, beat the shit out of a young man last week. And Glover,
I couldn't have been happier
and Glover, another old man.
He's riding the old man train.
So I'm taking the old man part here. I'm going to take Damian Maia. I just feel like if he gets a hold of him, it's going to be bad. So I'm just calling a submission. I'm not going to say decision. If it goes decision, I don't think he's going to take the decision because it can come down to stand-up, and I think stand-up, he's really going to lose that.
Yep.
And it may be even like a 28 or 29-27 at some point because of the whole stand-up thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like if it goes to the ground, Damian Maia has a very strong chance. I'm thinking he's going to, I feel like a submission.
Yes, I'm taking Damian Maia as well. And for some reason in my head, I see him in the second round having him up against the cage and doing some slick shit where all of a sudden he like puts a hook in from the side, not even from his back, hooks him from the side, manages to get a hold of him, and all of a sudden they're in a weird grappling match. He pulls him down, takes his back, and submits him in the second round.
Is there a fun Jacare?
No.
That'd be a pretty cool fight.
No, he dropped to welterweight when Jacare was still in Strikeforce.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, but I have Maia via second round decision, I think.
Second round decision.
Or
That's really impressive.
second round decision. Yep.
That's old man power.
He's deciding to submit him in the second round.
Teixeira's old manpower last week coming back from looking like he was sleeping.
That's why you got to run the old man.
Yeah, he was.
Dude.
He was. Robertson just hit him with one too many and woke him back up. He was out.
He pulled the JDS cane on him where he hit him once, and he's like, wait back up.
I thought he was done.
Yeah, I was done. TJ.
You want to start the next one?
He tried. With,
This is actually,
Aldo
this is
and
probably
Moicano?
the fight I'm most excited for. On
Yeah,
probably your
I'm more
fight of the
excited.
night.
I'm more excited for this one, mostly because my boy Aldo, he went through it in the last couple of years, and when he caught Jeremy Stevens with that body shot, that left to the body, I was so ecstatic when he did that, because earlier in that fight, I thought he was gonna get slept when he had him up against the cage and was hitting him a little bit. So, really, what this comes down to for me is Aldo's gas tank looked really piss poor against Max in their fight when Max really started laying into him. And Moicano's going to throw a lot of strikes.
Yeah, let's be fair
Max.
to Aldo. Max makes a lot of people's gas tanks look like shit once you get past the second
True,
round.
but with Moicano's similar fight style is what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
And so I can't choose against Aldo because I like when he fought Max that second time, I did just because I kind of knew what was inevitable. But at this point, I'm going to choose Aldo. I'm hoping that his power will come through just like it did in that Jeremy Stevens fight, that I'm going to need him to catch Moicano, because the later this goes, I think the weaker his gas tank's going to get, and Moicano's not going to tire. So if it goes 3 rounds, I don't think it's going to be good for Aldo. So that's why I think that Aldo will catch him either late in the second, early in the third. I'll choose the second round again. But I think Aldo has to catch him and put him out, because if I think it's going to go all 3 rounds, that really lessens Aldo's chance of winning the fight.
See, as much as I like Aldo, I'm going to have to bet against him. Like you said, with the style of the fight, he's going to wear Aldo out. So I think it's going to be Moicano via decision. But also something else I think is going to play into it too. If Moicano wins this fight, he's fighting right now for a title shot. Let's be honest. If he wins, he's getting a title shot.
Yeah.
Aldo already came out and said that if he wins, he's not going to get a title shot. He's already 0-2 against Max. He doesn't want to go through that again. So he's kind of fighting for more too. So I think Moicano is going to have a little more heart into it because he wants that title shot, and that Aldo knows even if he wins, he's not getting that shot.
Fair.
Taking Aldo.
The old man.
I thought he was just not there. I didn't think he was going to break it down. I'm taking Aldo.
Even though Aldo isn't really that old compared to a lot of the older fighters, he's been in the game for
He just feels like it because he's been here forever.
31 career fights.
I feel like the conditioning is going to take a huge part into it. And I'm with Bush on that. Whoever goes a little bit longer, I do feel his chances do deplete a good bit. But it's his last fight. Was it Dustin Poirier and Eddie Alvarez fight? He was on that card, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. His last fight, I didn't even bet on him, to be honest with you.
I thought Stevens was going to knock him out.
And the way he did with Stevens, and Stevens is a tough guy.
Yeah.
And to just put him away like you're starting to see Aldo come back more and more now. I mean, that corner thing really messed him up, but like it's just like now he's starting to catch his groove, and it's like his power, his whole gimmick is coming back, and it almost looks that way. And I feel like that's what, even though he's not pushing for that title shot, I feel like he's pushing to be like, I was arguably and still is arguably one of the greatest fighters of all time, easily.
Yep.
But he wants to be like, I want to go out and end the legacy on a high note, not these losing streaks. So even though you're fighting for a title with Moicano, Aldo's fighting for his legacy in a sense to where I want to go out knowing that I had these dominant fights.
Yep.
In a sense, and beat these younger prospect kind of guys coming up. So I'm gonna take Aldo for the second round finish.
I picked Moicano to be the 45 champ by the end of the year, so obviously. But there's been a couple things with Aldo that has made me feel really confident in that. First off being the fact that Dana White wanted them to be the main event of this card.
And Aldo didn't want to, yeah.
Aldo doesn't want to go 5 rounds anymore. So that makes me think that maybe a little of that hunger for fighting is kind of going out the window. It's almost like he's doing it more for a paycheck now than for the love of fighting.
Because he knows as long as Max is in that king's chair that he doesn't want to fight that fight again. He doesn't want to go through what Max put him through again.
I don't think they'd give it. He would have to absolutely clean out the division.
Yeah.
That's asking a lot with the depth that's there right now.
Yeah.
And then, like we've already touched on, Moicano's a high output kind of guy. We'll see if Aldo learned anything from his fight with Max to see if he can kind of dictate the pace of the fight. But Moicano, he's got that Max Holloway in him. The only difference is I don't think he has quite as much power. He doesn't have any career knockouts. He's never been knocked out, but he's never stopped an opponent with strikes either. Aldo doesn't really get knocked out other than Conor and 2 Max fights.
Which Conor, though, was a clean hit. I mean, most part, generally, if you hit anyone like that...
And Max was just wearing him down. He was so tired, he couldn't even fight back
Conor
at that
had
point.
Power for 140.
I'm not saying he doesn't have power. He has definite power, but it's it was a lucky spot where he
put it.
Clean.
It was, he's known for accuracy and precision, I give him that, but that Aldo knock, even though he's finished there in 13 seconds, I don't think you can judge his chin based off that.
I mean, outside of that, I don't know if we've ever really seen Aldo hurt that I can think of. So I think that Moicano just wears him down every 3 rounds and takes a pretty clean-cut, dry decision. The one thing that could offer him some trouble, though, is if we get WEC Aldo with those nasty leg kicks.
Oh, I would love to see it.
Because I believe Moicano has a little bit of that. He's long, so he's got a little more of that boxing style where he stands heavy on that lead leg. So that could put him in some trouble, but Aldo hasn't really shown much interest in throwing those leg kicks lately.
As much recently,
I'm going to roll with Moicano.
Main event?
Awesome.
Main event.
So Assuncao and Moraes, since they last fought, Assuncao is 2-0, and Moraes is 3-0 since they last fought. I don't think either of them have lost since their last fight.
I don't think.
Moraes beat Dodson, Aldo, and
Rivera
recently,
I don't think either of them have lost since their last fight.
I think Assuncao beat Aldo as well, but I can't think of the other guys that Assuncao, or who the other guys that Assuncao fought.
I'm not sure.
Regardless, I don't see this being a grappling match at any point.
No.
This is going to be, let's stay on our feet, let's bang this out. I give Assuncao a little bit of an advantage on the feet. Not much, but a little bit of an advantage on the feet. But for some reason, I just think it's Marlon's time, and that he's going to even this up 1-1. I think it's going to be a decision. I don't think either of them are going to knock the other person out. I got Marlon Moraes in a 5th round decision. This fight could go either way.
Yeah,
it really.
So this is a really good fight.
With this fight, I think what happens is you have Assuncao, who's just slightly more refined. I think, maybe not refined is the right, just a little bit more well-rounded, I think. Where you have, he's pretty good everywhere, but he doesn't shine out in any, specific region of his fighting. But Moraes has looked scary. He is just, that sound of the baseball bat, shin against Rivera's head when he hit him was crazy. And for that, I think Moraes is the much more dangerous fighter in this, and I'm going to go with Moraes. Just somewhere in my gut, I think in the third round, he's going to find a way to get one of those kicks, and maybe he starts throwing leg kicks or kicks to the body and starts to get him thinking the kick's coming low. John Jones switched it up, hits him high, finishes the fight in the third round.
He needs to take Assuncau's movement is what he needs to do.
I think I think Moraes has the skills to take him out for sure. He just needs that chance to catch him, and I think it'll come eventually in the fight once Assuncao gets a little bit more comfortable. Maybe not super early, but once they get comfortable with throwing with one another, I think he'll be able to throw something different and hit Assuncao.
And since their last fight, I've been more impressed with Moraes too than I have Assuncao.
Yeah, well, the Assuncao,
he's kind of just he is what he is.
Yeah, he is what he is.
Yeah.
You know?
Moraes' last 3 fights since has really impressed me.
I think Dodson was a split decision.
It was.
Yeah.
But he nearly killed Aldo and Jimmy Rivera.
Facts.
So.
Facts.
I'm a tough one picking this one because I want to say it's going to go decision. But I do feel like at any point in time...
If it's a 3-round fight, it very well might, but 5 rounds with those guys is what makes it hard for... That's what made it hard for me to choose a decision.
This could end in the first. This could go to a decision.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I could pick decision here, but like this fight could literally end
At
anywhere at any
fight.
time. It could end in 13 seconds.
Or it could be the 25-minute fight of the
Yeah.
night.
Or it could be Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou.
There's no chance.
I don't think it
There
does
is
that.
zero
Yeah, but everyone
chance.
said that about Derek Lewis versus Francis Ngannou.
Do you need more time? You want me to go?
Yeah, you go ahead.
I feel you, dog.
It's just tough.
Assuncao Moraes. Assuncao is never out of a fight. He's always there. He's never getting outclassed. Moraes is very explosive. He's shown he's very dangerous, taking out Rivera, who looked like a world beater up until that point. The big thing for me is there's really no questions for me as far as Assuncao where there's going to be a hold that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I need an answer for. Moraes, I'm interested to see how he handles the 5 rounds.
Yeah.
With that explosive game plan that he has, I want to see if his tank is able to
If he
keep
can
that
still
for
keep
5
up
rounds.
all that power that he throws in his shots
Yep.
for 25 minutes.
Yeah. Because if he wears down, I mean, he lost a split decision already. If he starts wearing down later in the fight, Assuncao's probably going to run away with this.
Yep.
I think that he's right there. He wins this fight. Unless they go to Henry for the next title
Right.
shot. Barring that.
This is the next actual 135er contender
Right.
fight.
Yep. Whoever wins this is getting that next shot. And I think that, with that being said, Moraes, I think, is just going to put it on him. I think this is another one where I think there's going to be a lot of leg kicks, and I think he's going to give the body a lot to try and wear down Assuncao to open up the power shots up top. I don't think he's going to come in. I don't think he's going to be throwing wild shots to the head. I think he's going to stay a little more disciplined and kind of pick him apart to open up what he wants. So I've got Moraes. I've got it going to a decision just because Assuncao doesn't get finished.
Yeah.
In 32 career fights, he's been knocked out 1 time and he's been subbed 1 time. So I've got Moraes by decision. I think he takes the first 3, and then even if he wears down,
Yeah. He has enough to.
I think he's got enough in the early part of the fight to win it.
Yeah.
Moraes. For Assuncao, I think it's going to be a decision. I think it's going to come down to... Assuncao's never been finished, like you said. It's very low. Moraes could finish him, though. And if he does finish him, I'm going to say it's going to be like a 3rd round, somewhere in there. Then if he goes anywhere past the 3rd round, if Moraes is going to pull it off, I think it's going to go to decision. Because I think it's like you said, I would like to see how that power
Holds up
with that over time. And Assuncao is really hard to put away with having stats like that. It's not like he was just fighting bums.
No, he's been at the top of the division.
Right, that's what I mean. It's like
It's not
like
He's
he's
been bouncing around
bums.
top 5 for quite some time.
And the fact that he's only been finished once by knockout, once by submission, and been fighting these top guys, And if Moraes puts away, that really does put, an extra something on him knowing, like, you finished a guy that's been fighting the top 5 guys constantly, and you finished him. So I'm going to go Moraes' decision.
Cool.
All right.
That's UFC 144.
That'll wrap up UFC Fortazela, a.k.a. Fight Night 144, a.k.a. ESPN Plus 2. The next one is the
234.
Australian card, which is rather shallow.
You got 2 good fights, and then a couple no-names, and then Jim Crute's fighting Sam Alves. So that should be decent.
I think we're going to see a lot of that coming up. There's a lot of fights they're throwing on ESPN.
After this week, this Saturday, there's only 3 more weeks off between now and the end of June.
It's going to be real hard to have solid cards. Main cards.
Hence why when we analyzed this fight card, we kind of had to jump around a little bit because there are going to be a lot of people making their debut from other fight organizations that we've never watched or even heard of. So a lot more videos to come in a similar format of where we might have to bounce around and analyze the fights that we at least know one of the parties involved in that fight.
And if you guys feel like we're sleeping on anybody, you feel like we need to obviously name drop them.
Let us know, especially if they're coming up ahead of time. Yeah. It's a little bit late if you let us know now. We'll obviously watch the fight card and see how they do. But if you know of anyone upcoming on one of these ESPN Plus cards or maybe even a pay-per-view on a prelim, something like that, that you think is going to perform really well, that might kind of slip under the radar, definitely let us know. All right. That's all we got. We'll see you in the next one.